Are you somebody who just can't tear away from full-sized keyboards, but you want something more compact? You see 60% keyboards out there, you see 10 keyless even, and you're like, wow, that's cool, but I need my numpad, bro. I gotta crunch numbers all day because I'm working from home and I gotta, it's just faster to have a number pad. What do? I'm stuck. My life is horrible, and I'm out. I ran out of milk. It's a bunch of horrible situations, isn't it? Well, luckily the good folks at Epomaker have you covered with this. The GK61, that's not it. The GK96S. It's a big boy, but it's still small. Just like me. Okay, so things are a little confusing as I'm getting ready to film this video. The keyboard I have in front of me is the GK96S, so I'm told by the person at Epomaker who sent it out to me, but apparently there's also the GK96 and the SK96. I don't really know the difference between any of them, but I do know that the one in front of me here is the GK96S, and we're gonna get into it. It's called the GK96S because it is a 96% keyboard, meaning it is very close to being a 100% keyboard, give or take a few keys to fit a compact form factor. Now, of course, there's more to it than that. There are some different shaped keys, there are some squeeziness in the form factor that you'd see here to make it a much more compact keyboard that will still have a numpad available to you if you so desperately need that number pad for work or just to have. I myself personally know a good handful of people that just cannot let go of that number pad, so if that's you but you want something more compact, you definitely want to take a look at this one. Currently on Kickstarter, the GK96 has a ton of options available. There are the 3 variants that I mentioned, which again I don't super know the differences of, but there is also a left-handed version. That is right, lefties. Right, lefties. That is right. If you are left-handed and you've always wanted a numpad on the left side, maybe you wanted a nice mechanical keyboard that could do that, there it is on screen right there. Isn't that just a sight to behold? This measures at a little over 14 inches wide, which is about the size of your average 10 keyless keyboard. And for you who are outside of the United States, 14 inches is this many. Inside the box, you'll receive the keyboard, a manual, which you will need because there are a lot of different hotkeys and layers that you can use on this keyboard, a USB-C cable, a very cool combination key switch / keycap puller, which I haven't really seen included with any of these keyboards that I have, so to see that was a nice little addition, some extra keycaps for you to swap out in case you're using this on a Mac, and some extra switches of various types so that you can try them out. Just pop them in the keyboard and see how they feel, because this is Hotswappable. Not only is this thing full of keys, it's also full of features. Seriously, this has to be one of the most versatile keyboards I have ever used. So let's back it up a bit. Mac compatibility. I don't have a Mac. If you do, you can use this. There's also just some keys on here that I don't really know what they do, because they're Mac keys. Like, what are these? Rectangles! It's compatible with Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. This thing has a Bluetooth built right in. So you can plug it into your computer, but you do also have that Bluetooth option with up to 3 devices. That's insane. And as I showed you in that box, there were switches because this keyboard is hot swappable with 5-pin switches. The options available are all Gateron options, but you could switch these out for any other 5-pin mechanical switches, which is really exciting. So if you've got maybe novelty creams, or you've got Tangies or Kiwis, or any other freaking high-end enthusiast level switches that you want to swap into this bad boy, you can do that. It's just there, it's ready to go. There is also an option available for Gateron optical mechanical switches, which is cool. Personally, I prefer the regular switches, but if you're into the Gateron optical mechanical switches, you want the smoothness and speed and durability of those, you have that option. Just keep in mind that your switch options are going to be a bit more limited, well, rather a lot more limited, because you're not going to be able to swap out for anything other than Gateron optical switches. There's a lot of options here, so I have to cheat. I'm pulling my phone out so I can look at them. As far as optical switches go, you've got blue, you've got red, brown, black, yellow, silver, and green. For the regular mechanical switches, you've got blue, red, brown, black, yellow, silver, white, and green. All Gateron. That's a lot of options. Now keep in mind, for both options, anything aside from blue, red, black, and brown does cost like $5 more to get those switches, but I'd say that, you know, if you're into maybe the Gateron yellows or the silvers or what have you, that's definitely worth the $5. There are different colorway options available. There's black, there's white, there's this one that I have here, which is like a Halloween kind of vibe. The keycaps included are DSA profile PBT keycaps that are pretty thick. They're very similar to ones that you've seen maybe if you've seen my SK61 review. Obviously different colors, but as far as the thickness goes and the profile, this is basically what you're going to get. For some reason, it sounds very different on this keyboard from what I remember it sounding like on the SK61. It's a bit more high-pitched. Personally, I prefer a thicker, bassier, more subdued sound when it comes to keyboards, but I will say that what you get here, at least out of the box, with the Gateron Reds that are on my keyboard, it sounds at least fairly decent. The stabilizers sound okay. If you're into modding stabilizers, you may want to consider it with this one, at least with the spacebar. As usual, the spacebar is the one that kind of sounds the worst. Now, as far as this compact form factor, it's a little bit unusual with having the numpad just right there directly to the right of the arrows and the enter key. Is it weird? A little bit. It does take some getting used to, but it really doesn't take long until you do get used to it. I myself have already been well accustomed to it, and I like it quite a bit. Replacing the keycaps is going to be a little bit of a doozy. For the most part, it's okay. The keys are all fairly normal sized. The only problems you're really going to run into are the row height differences when it comes to OEM, Cherry, or SA, or other similar profiles, simply because some of the keys are in a different spot than they normally would be, so you might have some funky row height mismatches in the top right corner of the board. In addition, the function key, menu key, right shift, and right alt are all smaller than they would typically be, so you'd have to find sets that are compatible with that. The software that you can download, which I will do my best to include in the description, is the same type of software you'd find with the GK61. It looks exactly the same, of course, with the exception of there being more keys that you can program. I'm not going to go in depth into the software. I've done that in the past and I'm tired. If you want to check that out, you can check out the GK61 review that I've done in the past, where I do go into the software a little bit. Out of the box though, there are various hotkeys set up to adjust the lighting, adjust the brightness, the speed. You can even pause the RGB animation, which always kind of makes me giggle when I do it. There are volume and media controls. There is brightness adjustment for the RGB, which I would probably max out anyway because the lighting is, in my opinion, very dim on this keyboard. That could be because everything is so compact, but I don't really think that makes much of a difference. It might also be because the keycaps on my board are not shine through, so you're not seeing as much of the light as you would if you had shine through keycaps. But from what I can see in between the keys, the lighting just seems very dim, even maxed out. If you want to toggle between Bluetooth and wired mode, it's not as simple as just plugging in the cable. You do have to press function and space to toggle between the two modes if you do want to plug it in and use it without Bluetooth. If you are in Bluetooth mode and you want to turn the keyboard on or off, you hold the function key and the tilde key, which has the little power icon on the key, so you can just remember that that's the power switch. As far as Bluetooth goes, it does have a 4000 milliamp hour battery, which is supposed to last for quite a while. I didn't use this thing in wireless mode all that often, so I really couldn't tell you how great the battery life is or is not, but with that big of a battery, at least if you turn the RGB off, you're probably going to get a good amount of life out of this thing. I will say that the connection for the Bluetooth does seem a little bit laggy from my testing. I didn't test out the Bluetooth in gaming, but I did test it out in typing quite a bit on my PC and my iPad, and on both there was a slightly noticeable input lag where it just felt like there was a bit of a delay between pressing a key and what you saw on screen. It was minor, but it just seemed noticeable in comparison to a one-to-one typing experience that you'd have from plugging it in. With that being the case with typing, I probably would not recommend this for any competitive games. If you're playing something that's sort of maybe menu-based, maybe some kind of sim game or something where you don't need to be super fast, you'll probably be fine. But if you're playing anything online and competitive, you probably want to just have this thing plugged in. And that, my friends, is the GK96. 96 keys in a compact form factor. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. It does take some getting used to, admittedly, but it's not really that much of a difference when you're coming from a 60% keyboard or from a full size. I do like the versatility you're getting here with this huge range of compatibility. Speaking of which, I don't know if it's going to work with PS5 or PS4 or any of the Xboxes, S's or X's or what have you. It's a keyboard. You plug it into your computer and you use it like that. This keyboard has a huge range of versatility that I could see going a long way. You've got Bluetooth, you've got all that compatibility with different operating systems, Hotswap ability, regular or optical mechanical switches, left or right-handed modes. So many options. I'd say the biggest down points for this keyboard are the RGB brightness being a little too low and the Bluetooth having some input lag, but altogether, you're getting a really nice package here. If you're okay with that and you're looking at this and it looks like a nice option for you, I don't think you'll be disappointed. So if you do want to check this out, again, it is currently on Kickstarter, estimated to ship next month in December. So if you're watching this now in November, there's a link in the description that you can use. It is an affiliate link. It sends a little bit of money back Portly's way just to help fund the channel and keep the channel moving with more exciting keyboard stuff for you guys, as well as anything else that you guys might want to see. So let me know in the comments what you think of this video, what you think of this keyboard. Does this form factor enticing to you? Is there anything that might put you off? Maybe you have some questions I didn't answer here. I'll do my best to get back to you if I can. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again to Epomaker for providing this keyboard for review. I gotta go, I'm out of here. My butt hurts from sitting in this chair for too long. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this video, you can check out this keyboard review here, or you can check out this video, which is something a little bit different. Just like me, I'm a little bit different inside of my brain. I gotta go. I'm just spouting nonsense at this point.